In 1991, George Henner drove his 1987 Ford Ranger through the front of Luby's Cafeteria in Killian, Texas, and he killed 23 people and injured 20 with 2 pistols as he began shooting at the patrons there. Hello, my name is Daniel Williams. I am a veteran of the Iraq and Afghanistan conflicts. The NRA is the National Rifle Association, an organization who is there to defend the rights of people in their pursuit to own and obtain handguns. On their website, it says that they are committed to preserving the right of all law-abiding individuals to purchase, possess, and use firearms for the legitimate purpose guaranteed by the Second Amendment to the Constitution. As it pertains to firearms, the real issue is crime. The fact that they pose such a large threat against the populace. A person with a firearm can do lots of damage. But the NRA understands that you have to be very careful with gun control. Taking away all the guns will not work. If the United States banned all firearms, disregarded the Second Amendment, people from other countries would bring firearms here, or they would be manufactured here, and in that sense, only criminals would have them. And since they were against the law-abiding would not. Are guns inherently bad? From the website Politico, Wayne Lapierre, Executive VP of the NRA since 1991, says, "But since when did the gun automatically become a bad word? The gun in the hands of a Secret Service agent protecting our president isn't a bad word. Guns in the hands of the law-abiding, a good person, would only use it for safety and self-defense." On YouTube, there's a video of Dr. Susan Gradia Hoop titled "Tells It Like It Is," speaking to legislators about her experiences with gun control. Dr. Hoop was in Luby's Cafeteria when George Henner drove his vehicle into it. She gives her testimony before the legislators. She tells them that months previous, there was a law enacted in which citizens were no longer allowed to carry a firearm or have one in certain establishments. She usually carried one in her purse, and she went to reach for this during the attack to defend her family, and the patrons of the restaurant. But because of the law, she left it in her vehicle. She could have stopped this attack if she had only been allowed to carry one. The NRA wants the correct form of gun control. This is a big issue, and guns do kill people. However, my guns are as apt to kill someone as my pencil is. This is just a tool. I use it to write with. Most people don't see it as a weapon, but you could stab somebody with it if you were so inclined to. A bad person could. This is similar. This is the same. This is just a tool. I use it for self-defense. A bad person, a person of mental illness, could use it as a weapon against lots of people if they wanted to. That's the NRA's position, is that this should only end up in the hands of people who would not use it for violent crime. There should be laws that keep this out of the hands of people who would do wrong with it. In my hand, it's not going to hurt anyone any more than my pencil would. It all depends on the person wielding the weapon. Also, in the website Politico, Wayne Lapierre goes on to say, politicians pass laws for gun-free school zones. They issue press releases bragging about them. They post signs advertising them. And in doing so, they tell every insane killer in America that schools are the safest place to inflict maximum mayhem with minimum risk. A man can do evil or good if he chooses. In 1987, Michael Ryan in Hungerford, England, shot 16 people to death, and another 14 were wounded. He wandered the streets for 8 hours before someone showed up with a gun to stop him. At the time, in Hungerford, England, guns were against the law for the mass public to have them. Even the police didn't have them. It took 8 hours for someone to stop him. If guns were outlawed altogether, occurrences like this could happen on regular occasion. All it would take is the right person, a person who would do ill will towards the masses, and firearms. If you take them out of the hands of the people who would use them for good. This excerpt was taken from the Wall Street Journal article, Two Cautionary Tales of Gun Control by Dr. Joyce Lee Malcolm. Currently in America, the actual number of firearms is unknown. This is a breakdown of countries and how many they are expected to have in the millions. But this account of our totals is probably mistaken due to the large volume of firearms that goes unregistered thanks to crime, and the way our government has regulated firearms in the past. Buying from other people. A person can buy a gun from someone else, and this gun could be unregistered. He doesn't necessarily have to register it. My firearms are all registered to me. If if I was to misplace my firearms or whatever, they would all come back to me eventually if the police had gotten a hold of them. This graph shows gun ownership matched with gun deaths. This includes all deaths. And here is another graph that shows gun ownership matched with gun homicide. The first would include suicide and self-defense and any gun death, regardless of whether it was lawful or not. The second shows a much deflated version when only homicides are considered. Taking this into account, with the first graph you see that while there are a lot of gun homicides, per capita we also have more firearms. So there's more chance for it to occur. Every 1.3 minutes an American citizen uses a firearm in self-defense against a criminal. My source is the Armed Resistance to Crime, The Prevalence and Nature of Self-Defense with a Gun by Gary Kleck and Mark Gertz in the Journal of Criminal Law and Criminology. Do we hear about these instances, or does the media report only the evils of firearms? With this number, if it's occurring every 1.3 minutes, there are several self-defense cases going on. And as far as I'm concerned, I usually only hear of very, very few. But I hear about every instance in which an enemy of the country would attack a populace with a firearm. They report it every time. This country was founded with guns. The framers of the Constitution knew it to be a good idea that people keep and bear arms for their own protection. There's too many instances where someone could try to do them harm if they weren't allowed to possess them. Whether you are for or oppose firearms, or even indifferent, the NRA's mission is to keep firearms in the hands of the lawful and the defense of our lives, liberty, or even our freedom. I advise you to donate money to this organization so that the country that you know so well will still be here for generations to come. Thank you.